Hi, I'm Dani Gasparini, and welcome to this segment of Penn Voice. I am joined today by Aarin Aknin, who is the Community Development Director for the City of Redwood City. Aarin, welcome.
Thank you.
So what's a day in the life of a Community Development Director?
Sure. Well, first, thanks for having me. So Community Development Director, I oversee the planning department, so all the development applications, we review those and make presentations to the Planning Commission, to the Council. Also long-range planning, so everything as we're planning for El Camino, the downtown and other areas of the city. Also the engineering side, so everything from transportation engineering to the capital projects, so sewer, wastewater, stormwater, and finally affordable housing and housing in general, and then the building side is too, so building inspectors, code enforcement officers as well.
Do you sleep?
I sleep sometimes, yes, yes. A few weekdays.
I mean, it's no surprise and it's no secret that Redwood City certainly has a lot going on from the development side.
Yep.
So your department, I'm sure, is being taxed to the hilt with regard to people power and no lack of projects before you.
Absolutely.
So we're going to actually talk about some of the projects later on, but what I want to ask you about is, there is so much happening. I mean, even from Parks and Recs and Public Works and planning, but where do people go to learn about things that are happening, or if you drive by and see a crane or see something happening on your block, where can they go to learn about what's happening?
Sure, so we've really aimed in the last couple of years to make it more transparent so that you could find out information easily. So I'd recommend two things. The first is if you just go to our website and go to redwoodcity.org/development projects, or just Google Redwood City projects, you'll find a projects page, and it has all the major developments there. Photo simulations or photos of all of them, all the detailed information, staff contact information. If you want to find out more information, you could sort whether it's under construction or it's in the pipeline, so you could really find all the information there. The second thing, I would sign up for the Community Development Newsletter. So if you just go to the city's website and you could click on Find More Information there, and you could sign up for a number of newsletters. I would definitely sign up for the Community Development Newsletter. Gives every month you'll get something that could go over some of our major initiatives, as well as go over what's coming up on Planning Commission agendas or City Council agendas.
You know, I want to thank you for the Community Development Newsletter, because we were just having a discussion about accessory dwelling units just recently. I mean, it's a very important topic today with the housing shortage, and so sure enough, we were having a conversation about that, and that was right in the last publication about the state changing some of the adaptation of it, and then the city also. Yeah,
so that's an example of major initiatives we put in there. So things like accessory dwelling unit, things like the El Camino corridor plan.
Right.
You'll find out information there, as well as minor topics. You'll also see, hey, it's coming up on an architectural advisory committee, coming up on a planning commission meeting. You'll be able to see there and click through and get more info.
Right, or go to the Planning Commission meeting too. Because I think they provide a lot of good information that we can find out in advance of projects being approved. So in addition to getting this information, again, it's no secret that there's a lot happening. There's a lot of movement in the city of Redwood City. So what are some of the things that you're kind of looking at?
Sure. So most people generally know when a project happens by when it's being constructed.
Right.
So most of what you see constructed today is usually approved a year ago, 2 years ago, and that's the case with most of the development downtown that you see. Most of the steel frames that you see going up now, there's, I believe, 3 different projects or office projects that were submitted in probably 2014, approved a year or 2 later, and just broke ground within the last year or so. So that's what's going on downtown now. There's also some residential projects that are going on that are under construction now, more towards El Camino and Jefferson area. In terms of some of the things that are up for approval, we actually have 2 residential projects. We have one at 1409 El Camino. It's a 350 unit project being proposed by Greystar. It was actually approved by the Planning Commission but appealed to City Council. City Council will be reviewing that soon, most likely in April. Then there's also one at 801 Brewster. which is a project that's 250 units that was recently approved by the Planning Commission, which we believe will start construction over the next 6 months or so.
And you know what I think that most people don't realize, that most cities have and worked on and adopted a general plan.
Yep.
So it's sort of what do we want our community to look like 10 years from now or in the next 10 years. And then within that, there's pockets of each community that you could do an overlay plan. In the downtown, you have the downtown precise plan. So that sort of gave you the vision of what you wanted to see with regard to commercial and housing and amenities. So all of these projects fit within that downtown precise plan that you've been working on even further back than the projects being approved and then, you know, initiated on their own merit.
Correct, and it even goes back further than that. The plan for downtown has deeper roots than most plans that you see out there. It started with a community process in the late 90s.
Right.
First plan was adopted after about a decade of community outreach. Adopted in 2007. There was a lawsuit at that time. We responded as a city to that lawsuit and then adopted a second version of the plan in 2011, and then it's being implemented since that time. So what you see today, the construction that you see today, is about 2 decades in the making. So it's not something, even though the construction is happening quickly, it's actually something that didn't happen overnight.
Right, and you know, and that's the double-edged sword. We sort of say, wow, things can move quickly in the city of Redwood City. We sort of have this vision and we can get things done, but yet, sort of the other side of that coin, it has been a 2-decade conversation. So in some regard, some people might say, well, gosh, that took quite a long time to come to fruition, because there's been a lot of conversation, a lot of community input along the way. So it's sort of a different perspective, but how you may view what's been happening today.
Absolutely. For people who were involved 20 years ago, it's taken a long time to get to this point. For people that just became aware over the last year or two, it appears that construction has moved along rather quickly. Right.
And I know all of these conversations and past plans are all available if anybody is really interested in sort of archiving and moving forward. The city is also involved in a great initiative, and that's to preserve and restore its historic downtown and its historic buildings. Tell us a little bit about the award that you recently received and how you're doing in that area.
Sure. So actually in the Downtown Precise Plan, one of the key goals, there's 8 or 9 goals in the plan, is to really respect the history of downtown. And this is an initiative that started in the late 90s. One of the first things we did was adopt a history walk around 2010, 2011. There's about 3 or 4 dozen properties within the downtown area that are protected from a historical standpoint. Recently, we received from the Obama administration a Preserve America Award, and we're deemed to preserve America City, which basically states that you really are a city that pays attention to your history. And as you evolve and new construction happens, you are respecting that history. This year, we're celebrating our 150th anniversary as a city. We're the oldest city in San Mateo County by over 20 years. We are incorporated in 1867, so there'll be a number of events, and you could go to redwoodcityhistory.org or rwc150.org to find out about a lot of the events. Some are in downtown, some are spread out throughout the city. Because we are an older city, there is a lot of history all around the city.
Right, and again, some of the most beautiful buildings still stand today, not to mention our wonderful county center, which we fondly call City Center Plaza.
Yep.
And across the street, the Fox Theater. So affordable housing, that continues to be on the forefront of conversation. So what's the city involved in?
Sure. So a lot of our focus now is really twofold. If someone adopts or someone approves gets a new project approved, they have to pay a fee on that to start accumulate funds towards affordable housing. So if you propose a new market rate development, you have to pay a certain amount towards affordable housing.
Right.
Or if you're developing residential, you could actually have the housing on site. So right now we have about 4 projects in the downtown area that include affordable housing. Everything from a 117-unit senior affordable project on a city-owned site where rents will range. You know, you'll have one bedrooms that would typically go for $3,000 that will be more in the $1,000 range.
Right.
Rents that are for 2 bedrooms that are normally $3,500 would be in the $1,200 to $1,600 range. So it is really truly affordable. We also have 2 projects that are currently in the pipeline, 2 that I mentioned before, the one on El Camino and the one on Brewster, that have affordable housing within. The one on Brewster, of the 250 units, has 50 affordable units, and the one on El Camino has 35 affordable units.
And again, all of this information is on your website and is in your newsletter. So
Correct.
It's really important for people to become educated how they can support the city in developing affordable housing, because it is a really complex formula in order to attain
Absolutely.
affordable housing.
Yeah. And if you're someone who's looking to get affordable housing, you could also find that information through our website, who to contact to get on the waiting list or get a unit within a certain building.
Okay. Well, thanks, Aaron. We are out of time, but there's obviously a lot happening in the city of Redwood City, and I appreciate the fact that you've come and spoken to us about it and how we can get information and get
Great.
involved.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You bet. And
All right.
so thank you, all of you, for joining us, and we will see you next time on Penn Voice.